Okay, so spring 19, well, I guess autumn 1902 movements are here. This will be a short video, and honestly, it might be my last video because today was not good news. Today did go in a way that I saw as very likely, but I played in the way that I thought was best. I thought that Russia, like, I hadn't worked with Russia till now, so they wouldn't have any need to like share the win with me, so I needed to slow them down. And a way to slow them down would be to help Germany hold them back. I knew Germany, based on how they rode yesterday, which was unacceptable, that they would never trust me, obviously. But because of Austria's insisting that I should help them, and the fact that it would be in their best interest that they work with me for at least one turn, I chose to try to trust them. So that they would allow me to help them. Because the situation was such that they were in danger of losing 2 points at least this turn. More, maybe, if I were gonna be downright hostile towards them. But that there was a decent way for them to hold all their supply centers if they, and all it requires was basically just help from me. And I was offering them that help. I thought that even though this player is obviously like not great at strategy, they should, if they are playing this game to win, which I hope everybody is, they should know that it's in their best interest to use the help I'm offering this turn. But that did not happen. Instead, the help I offered happened to be in the I bounced them in Berlin kind. I knew the fact that they were suggesting that was very suspicious. But again, like, I really thought that there was a good chance that this player only cared about themselves, and that they were smart enough to realize that doing exactly what they did here in Munich would only mean that they would lose centers, more centers elsewhere. It would doom their game if they did this. So that means either they are very incompetent, or they are somehow so angry at me that they felt that I deserved to get pulled down with them. Which I think is silly. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all there is to talk about the fact that I was betrayed. There's no reason to think about Germany's actions, because they are inherently irrational. So well, let's talk about what happened next and what happens elsewhere, and what I am gonna try to do, but what is most likely not gonna work. Well, firstly, my unit in Munich had to retreat somewhere, and I had 3 options: Burgundy, Silesia, and Bohemia. I chose Burgundy. I'll tell you why. I did not want to pick Silesia because Russia was going to build in Warsaw. I don't have a reason to work together with Russia, and that would mean that they could block my unit in Silesia from retaking Munich, which was now my only goal. I felt like at this point I'm probably out of the game. I'll just get Munich back because that would give me some mental clarity, genuinely. So that's why I didn't put it in Silesia. I think it's worth mentioning that that is actually just incorrect from my side. If I retreat to Silesia and then next turn went Silesia to Munich, support from Tyrol, I'm pretty sure my moves would go through even if they tried to like block me in Silesia. But I didn't think about it properly before I did my retreat. I also went to when I thought about Bohemia, I thought I can't go to Bohemia because Venice and Trieste is open right now, and that would look like so bad for Austria, right? They already weren't happy when I moved to Tyrol the first time, and I didn't want to anger them by also moving to Bohemia and like basically putting two of their centers under threat like this when I need them to give me the rest of Anatolia. Like I need their help for that. So yeah, I didn't want to do that. Again, it's worth mentioning that Austria was, and I knew this at this point, they were going to get two builds, so they were going to build here and here, so in theory they shouldn't feel threatened by the fact that I have an army here and here, because there's no way I can really betray them. I guess I could in theory double push Vienna, but it wouldn't be a good time to betray them. So maybe I could have gotten away with Bohemia if I talked to them about it. But I didn't talk really to anybody. I had the only retreat, and I wanted the game to continue. This game had lasted, this turn had lasted 2 full days. And I felt that, well, it doesn't really matter which of my allies I go into, because I'm just gonna move it out of the lands next turn by retaking Munich. So I don't really want to hold up the entire game in case, until I get an okay from either player, because that might take, I don't know, that might take half a day in theory, and it might also, they might also say no beforehand, and I felt like it might also just be easier to ask, state my reasons afterwards, and ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I don't think that's inherently irrational, because my plan was always, my plan wasn't to betray either my allies. So in my mind, I was just it's fine, I'm going to go to, well, in this case, Burgundy, and I'm going to move out of Burgundy next turn, and we're going to be fine again. But we weren't fine. France got really mad at me. Well, maybe that's an overstatement, right? And I should also be careful how I use my words, because unlike with somebody like Germany who were nasty and I object to how they wrote to me, France was just showing displeasure in the game strongly, but it wasn't unpleasant outside the game, if that makes sense. But it was bad news for me, because I obviously, now that I'm weak, I need my two allies more than ever before. And I saw, my first thought when it was France was annoyed at me was that they were gonna use this as a pretense to attack me. Not because they really were that mad at me or they were that scared that my Burgundy unit was gonna go to Paris and steal a center, but they just but they now have an excuse to go attack me, which could be better for them than having me as an ally, because I am quite weak and I'm quite split up and a lot of my shit is in Anatolia. Yeah, it's just fair to say that in the 6 minutes I spent thinking about my retreats, 5 of them I was just kind of fuming of how annoyed I was at Germany for throwing their game just to ruin mine. But I was, but I didn't give it enough thought of how France would react, because I guess they were absolutely right. I'm next to 2 empty supply centers. I argued, well, that's fine, right? You're gonna build in Brest and Paris, and you can cover Marseille with Spain. I can't betray you. But then they pointed out, well, you could go to Gascony, and then next turn I have a 50-50 of which center to cover. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I wasn't gonna do that though. That was my thought process, but he's right, of course. That does require a little bit of trust in me. And I'm in the sort of position where he shouldn't give me a little bit of trust. If I can't show, if the help I can give him is less than the damage I can do if I choose to betray him, he is in the right to be wary about it. And therefore, they were very annoyed about it. Yeah, and that sucks because the builds ended up being this, which means that France did not build in Brest. And I thought that was bad news, because obviously they need to take Britain, right? Britain is just openly hostile against them. The fact that they would rather build armies, to me, meant that they're probably going to bomb rush Italy now. And again, it's tough to blame them. They could genuinely just think that, yeah, I can probably get like 2 or 3 centers from that. That's going to be worth more than the Italian ally who's going to have 2 units with questionable loyalty. But I did... So while I thought that was a reasonable play from France, I was really hoping that wasn't it. Austria built 2 armies in Trieste and Vienna, and that looks really bad to me, but I guess that was their only option. Well, except for building a fleet in Trieste, which would be way more hostile towards me. So they are showing goodwill. It's just that goodwill looks scary. Yeah, so what's the plan? Well, my plan is to strike a good balance of fuck, I hate my life, everything's over. I'm just here, I'm just... well, yeah, to somebody like Russia, who I need to attack Kiel, because I need them to attack, do that so I can take Munich. I was just like, yeah, I don't care about balance of powers anymore. I'm just here. I'm gonna do. If you take Kiel, I'll be forever in your debt. Yeah, because my number 1 priority right now is getting Munich. Until I do that, everything is over. But my other plan is to strike that balance between France and Austria, where they're like, well, I feel bad for this guy. He has been good to me. And he sounds like somebody I would want to work with, and he isn't threatening right now. But I also couldn't be like, oh, I just fucking give up on the game, I hate everything. Because if I gave up on the game, they might reasonably, again, see that and be like, okay, well, if he's just being a bit of a wild card now, like, I should take his centers to use them better. So, yeah. So how do I think that has gone? Well, first of all, I should probably mention, I disbanded in Ionian. The thought process is this. I need these 2 units to take Smyrna, and to show Austria I'm still committed against Russia on this front. Like, if I only had 1 unit here, it would be so trivial to take whatever centers I get that I can't do that. I could delete Burgundy, and maybe France would have been happy with me again. But they wouldn't know I deleted Burgundy until after they placed their units anyway. And I also, like, as I've said like 4 times now, it's very important for my mental that I retake Munich. That's my 1 fucking goal for the rest of the campaign. Yeah, well, that's the first goal before I can think about anything else. So I couldn't delete a unit there because nobody's gonna help me into Munich. Yeah. So, what's the plan? The plan is to basically say very sorry to France, because I am sorry, they are right. I should have waited for them. Fuck the fact that the entire lobby had to wait for that. I should have waited for them and discussed it with them. That's kind of the minimum in this sort of situation. So France player, if you ever see this, you're right, I apologize for this. I hope that you forgive me anyway for just, for, you know, I was heated against Germany and I hadn't thought things through properly. That was just how it was. It really, I hadn't considered how it affected your game, and that wasn't very nice of me as an ally. But yeah, sorry. I think there still is a small chance I have game to play. That small chance if it's both Austria and France, instead of choosing to split me up, which would be fine if they did. It wouldn't be fine for me, but it would be fair if they did. They could split my empire in 2, and realistically, I wouldn't be able to blame them. But there's also a chance they are still willing to work with me, and that the 3 of us will be able to form some sort of uneasy alliance against Russia, who is still the player I'm so concerned with. They're gonna get 2 supply centers next turn. I'm very certain of that, because what I'm certain is gonna happen is that the Kiel unit will support Munich, because all Germany apparently wants to do is ruin my game. I guess in fairness, this turn it does make sense. I wasn't rude to them last turn, they were very rude to me last turn. But I will admit that I was very rude to them after their move. I talked shit to them. I thought their behavior last turn was unacceptable, and while I dealt with it and while I pretended to be still willing to work with them then, now that both of us are basically irrelevant, especially them, I had to call them out on their actions, which obviously didn't improve things, right? Yeah, but that means that now Germany's irrelevant. The one thing they can do is just fuck the player over they hate the most, and that is me. Yeah. But because Kiel is supporting Munich and Munich is holding, that means that Prussia is going to be able to walk into Berlin, and Baltic and Denmark is going to be able to walk into Kiel. Yeah. So good for Russia. They're going to be on 10 points. Austria should not be gaining any points unless they attack me, and France won't be getting any points for a while either unless they attack me, but they probably are. Yeah. All this just relies on the fact that they choose not to attack me. I did, right before I recorded, I did have some good Diplo with France, basically apologized for my move and said that, you know, I just thought of them as a strong ally, and therefore I thought they wouldn't mind an allied unit on the front line. But I genuinely hadn't thought things through from your perspective, and I don't blame you for not trusting me blindly. I am gonna be out of Burgundy next turn, and I hope we can work together again. And they did seem to be like, yeah, let's do that. Like, they said that in a friendlier way than I just said there, but like, they did seem to be responsive to that. So I hope I managed to make enough of a pity argument that they are willing to work with me. Now, everything I said was true. This isn't me lying or even upplaying it. I do believe what I said to you, France, but I did do it in a way where I hoped that I would invoke the right amount of pity. Because I am still playing to win, not win by myself. That is definitely off the table, though I don't think I was ever really planning on that. I don't think I had the stones to betray France and Austria, but I'm still planning to basically do my best. What does that involve? Well, it involves getting Smyrna this turn, getting Munich this turn, getting to 6 supply centers, maybe even 7 supply centers by getting Ankara somehow, and then hoping beyond all that Austria is willing to hold a line against Russia with me. Because then anything can happen. This also means that, again, Russia player, if you see this, I apologize, but I lied to you a fair amount this turn. At least my intentions were a lie. I'm not planning on giving you Ankara. If I get Smyrna, I'm gonna ask Austria to support me into Ankara. And I hope they'll do that. And if they'll do that, I hope they will. Which goes against a deal I made with Russia, which is basically just like, yeah, you can have Ankara. Yeah. Basically, if this turn goes better, then, like, if it goes in the best possible way, then there's still game to play, and then I will be having to go against Russia again, because that is the game I have to play if I am in the game. Yeah. No hard feelings, Russia. I'm sure you understand that you are clearly a good player. So I'm sure you won't fault me too much for lying about that. And I just admit this for free because there's a very good chance that I'm gonna get bomb rushed by Austria or France this turn, and none of that would have mattered. I wouldn't have a chance to betray Russia anyway. So I'm just saying this to put it out, like, in the open, that was a lie. I'm still planning to do good. I'm still playing to do my best, be in the best position possible. And that involves lying to Russia that I don't care about the game anymore. But no, I think I've said basically everything there's to say. I hope there's still more game to play, and if there is, I'll be recording again tomorrow. But if it turns out I'm getting betrayed by either Austria or France, then well played. I do hope Austria and France win the game. But I won't be here to narrate the game from a player that has been defeated. So yeah, thanks for watching these videos. I hope it was an interesting time to hear the game from somebody else's perspective. And of the remaining players, I genuinely, yeah, of the remaining players that have a chance to do well, I have no preference on who it is. I just, the one thing I will ask for is if I fucking die, you three better not tie the game, because that'd be lame as shit. If if I'm the last, like if I get if I get killed like that, and then you guys just all make peace, then I'll feel a little bit bad. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, talk to you guys later, or maybe not. Bye.